having fun. That's pretty cool, eh?
Hi, hello everyone, welcome. I'm so excited this evening. I have the wonderful Douglas Vermeeren with us, coming all the way over to us from Calgary. We have our event coming up on the 19th June this month, where Douglas is going to be our superstar speaker. So I'm super excited, as he is classed as has been referred to as the modern day Napoleon Hill, because of his research into the top performers from all around the world. And what he has found from that information has enabled him to create some amazing platforms and to help people from all over the world achieve massive success. And we're so excited to hear from him on the 19th. Welcome, Douglas.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Thank you for sparing us some time for this. This is amazing. We just wanted to briefly ask you a few questions, because I'm very conscious of how important your time is. We have some of our members who have put together some questions for you in preparation, because they're really excited to see you. So I know I've sent them over to you. Would you like to read them out?
I got them. Okay, so let's start with these questions. So I've got a really cool one here from Ken. Ken Eaton. Hey, thanks for submitting the question, by the way. His question is, my question would be, on his website and podcast, he states that success is the function of simplicity and focus on the fundamentals. Can he elaborate on methods he uses to keep things simple, especially when working with a team or with a team of people that often try to complicate things? It can feel like they're attempting to justify their position, importance, or confuse others. Feel free to paraphrase or reword to keep the question simple. Actually, first thing I want to recognize is something really cool that you pointed out here. Sometimes people do confuse things just to make themselves seem important to that peer group that they're in. They try to overcomplicate so that they themselves look like they're the wisest person in the room. And so we've got to be careful to recognize that. But one of the things that I do want to say straight off the bat is that success is always a result of simplicity or simplifying things. It's funny, we were just doing a coaching session here with Kevin a few minutes ago where we redefined productivity. Most people say productivity is doing more so I can get more, doing more so I can get more, and that's actually the rat race. We put ourselves into a treadmill that we'll never escape from, where the truth of the matter is productivity and success are actually being satisfied with what's happening often and doing less, but keeping the results the same. Now, when we do less, that gives us time to actually create more. And so it's really important that we do that. Now, as far as the strategies, in the short time that we have today, it's kind of challenging to go into a lot of the strategies that we're going to share. But one of the big things that I find in simplicity and finding a way to simplify things is we really need to get clear on how the tasks that we're participating in are associated with the outcomes that we're looking to create. And one of the missions that I have that I do in my own life is every quarter I take a look at the tasks that I'm doing, I take a look at my main mission, and I see which ones need to be eliminated. When people ask me, Doug, what do you do for a living? My answer always is as little as possible, because I want to get rid of the stuff that's wasting away my time in my life. There's things that I get involved in every day that quite frankly don't contribute to my mission, but sometimes I fool myself into thinking they do. Busy does not equal productive. Busy does not equal success. And oftentimes our ego tells us that if we're not busy, we're not valuable. And so we've got to be really careful. So I'm going to talk about that at the event a little bit more, but hopefully, Ken, that's a little bit for you. Let me share the next one here. This is kind of cool. This is Lal Smith. He says, mine would be when things weren't going well or as you had wished, what do you do to stay positive and keep persevering? You know, that's a brilliant question. And just like any other successful person that I've interviewed or that you've met or that you've encountered, we all have moments where things go not as planned, where things either, we experience from one of our own employees or a person that maybe is disloyal, or funny enough, even some of my friends that have run big multinational businesses have said employees are the biggest problem they've ever had. They're either going to steal from you, they're going to cheat on you, they're going to lie about things, and they're going to hide problems. And so we've always got things that will appear in our life that are not comfortable to deal with. Now, let me just also frame this in another way too, is we also hear a lot of gurus saying that if you have toxic people in your life or negative people in your life, you need to get rid of them. And I'm going to say that that's also incorrect thinking. The truth of the matter is if you want to rise in your level of success, you need to learn how to manage problems, not avoid them. And that includes problem people. And so with anything that we're doing in life, we need to learn how to manage it. Now, back to the next question, or the question that you've had here is, how do I do it? Now, there's a lot of different strategies that I do, but one of the biggest things is I take control of my life before I allow other people to do that. In other words, I don't allow someone else's emergency to become my fire. My fire is my passion. My fire is my excitement. My fire is what I want. And so when someone comes along with an emergency, I actually do have boundaries that I set. There's obviously people that I want to help and that I want to serve, but there's certain things that I will not sacrifice. One of them is my happiness. One of them is my mission. One of them is my connection to family. You need to decide what those things are. What is your fire? And don't let their emergency become your fire, right? Now, the other thing, I guess, with that I have found too is that, let's be honest, sometimes it's emotionally difficult to stay in tune with things. Somebody says something to you, or a hater speaks out, and heaven knows I've got haters too. Everybody does, right? But one of the things that I find is that if you use frustration as fuel, you will always be on the wrong end of success. If you make your decisions based on fear, you'll never ever create power. So you need to understand where your decisions are coming from. And so one of the things that I try to do whenever I experience someone who is a hater or a challenge that comes my way is I try to reconnect to my mission as fast as I possibly can. And I often will do it in solitude. So in other words, if I get advice from someone else, oh, you're not really that bad, this is good, and I'm filling myself artificially. So one of the things that I will often do is I will go on a bike ride to clear my head. I love mixed martial arts and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And the truth of the matter is if your mind is elsewhere while you're fighting someone, you're going to get hurt. So you need to be 100% present. Fear can never exist in the present, by the way. Fear always requires the future because we got to imagine what's going to happen. If we're in the present, we can't truly experience fear. Think about that. If somebody's kid walks in front of a bus, if you think about what's going to happen, you won't act. But we all act in the present. We'll face fear and we're not afraid. So we've got to learn how to let go of some of those things. And then the other thing that I think is, something that I always say whenever I make a mistake, you're going to think this is pretty crazy. I've got a little affirmation in my mind that anytime I make a mistake and someone points it out, these are the words I say. Thanks for noticing. Next time I'll do better. And then I let it go. So you just need to kind of see things with a perspective. And that's the other thing too, is 500 years from now, what you did today really is not going to matter. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. This is Simon Barros. And by the way, we'll deal with that a little bit more in the future too, if you'd like at the event. You can take off. Okay, Kev. Thanks, bro. See ya. Okay, so here we go. That was one of my students. Just he has to head out. Okay. You're welcome. Talk soon. So Simon Barros says, I would like to know, what is the most recent thing that Douglas has learned? That's an interesting question. This could be relationships, money, anything. I'm always intrigued to find out what someone who is super successful has learned most recently or currently studying at the moment. Also, the super rich, such as Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, all have a common trait. They have an obsession with their business. They work all hours of the day, and it never feels like work to them. So my question would be, how does one find their obsession equivalent? So let's talk about learning first of all. One of the things that I firmly believe as a thought leader, and I certainly pray that every other person that wants to be a coach or speaker gets this, you cannot be a teacher until you are a student. That means that you need to be a constant learner. And if you follow my social media, you'll see that I'm a constant reader. Brian Tracy once said to me that if you read a book a month, you'll rise to the top 1% of any business that you create or your expertise or your field. 1%, okay, that's nice. One book a month, not enough. So if you follow my social media, you see that I read between 10 and 15 books a month. That doesn't include audio programs that I listen to or videos that I do. And funny enough, every single day I'm taking notes on what I learned. This is this morning. And I carry around a black notebook where I translate those into other tools. And kind of what I do is I learn it myself, and then I ask myself the question, how will I teach it? Let me maybe talk a little bit about some of the things that I learned this morning, believe it or not. Here's a good one that I was thinking of. Now, by the way, these aren't always things that we learn from scratch. Sometimes they're things we know and we build upon them or have a new perspective of something that we feel like we've already learned. So the first thing that I wrote here, because it's Friday today as we're recording this, I wrote Friday with an exclamation mark. Then I wrote Friday with a question mark. And the thing that I learned is that sometimes I'm so involved in my business that I forget what day it is. That's the Friday with a question mark. I'm so engaged, time is flying. Other days, I'm Friday with an exclamation mark, meaning I've been waiting for this day. I haven't been working hard enough. I'm not lost in my mission. When Friday appears, I'm like, thank God it's Friday, right? So which are you this week? Are you one that's so lost in Friday that you didn't even see it coming? Or are you one that is praying for it because you're either not on task with your mission, you're not doing enough, you're not enlightened, and you're not inspired and excited? So is that your Friday? So that's one of the notes that I wrote here today. The other thing that I wrote is I took the word anxiety and I called it a new word. I just invented a word. It's called hangxiety, which is stress that comes from hanging on to crap. Okay. So some of us have anxiety and others have hangxiety, which is what occurs when we hang on to crap. So we don't want to hang on to stuff. Just another quick note that I put here is that the difference between success and average is how they think, what they see, and how they behave. Most people are willing to actually do the work, but not nearly everyone is working hard, or they're not seeing things in a certain way, or they're not getting a certain perspective. So if we often can change the vision, we can change the outcome. So I think that's important. Now, obviously, there's a lot more that's here, but yeah, I'm a constant learner, and if you want to be successful, you've got to do that too. Now, I think there's one more question here. Let's see this one here. Where was it? Where was it? Or maybe that was the last one. That was.
Fun, yeah.
I guess he's just talking about finding your obsession. Yeah. Now, I'm going to use a piece of paper maybe just to talk about that one. To be honest with you, there's a lot of gurus that are out there that say if you want to become successful, you've got to find your passion and your purpose. And I'm going to say that I've shared that idea with a couple of my mentors and friends. And as I went out and I interviewed the world's top achievers, I shared that idea and I asked about it. I said, is it true you got to focus on your passion and your purpose? And one of them, a friend of mine who's worth about $300 million, he sat me down and he said, you know what? That's the most greedy, selfish, ridiculous, crazy, stupid thing I have ever heard. And I was like, what? Like all the gurus are teaching that. Focus on your passion, your purpose. Now he said something else to me. He says there's a quote from Warren Buffett, and I'll share it because I know it by heart now because it's been important to me. He said, what you love about you is your hobby. What others love about you is your business. So what I've taken that to mean, we can focus on our passion and purpose by itself, but the truth of the matter is where your sweet spot, where your success will come is as your passion and purpose actually overlaps the passion and purpose of other people. This is the sweet spot. And when you understand not just what you're excited about, but how you can be valuable with what you're excited about, and you find the people that find that also valuable, that's where people in this space are now going to give you money and validate you. Now, by the way, I want to share that that's two different things. So give you money is the accomplishment, the achievement. Validate you is the fulfillment. My question is, which one's more valuable, the fulfillment or the achievement? And I'm going to say that really both are definitions of success. If you've got achievement but no fulfillment, you're screwed. If you've got fulfillment but no achievement, you're a guy sitting on a couch playing video games. Socrates, the Greek philosopher, once said that the quickest way to feel good about yourself, because we are teleological beings, we are beings that seek progress. The quickest way to feel good about yourself isn't actually always to achieve, it's to be on the process to achievement with something that you find grand or valuable. So in other words, when we achieve something that fulfills us, we get both. And that's really what the mission becomes. And I'll be talking more about that when we show up at your event. One of the things we're talking about is we're most likely going to be also bringing a copy of my newest book for everyone, free of charge. So make sure you show up. It's going to be something that you're going to love and you're going to honor. Actually, Bob Proctor wrote the foreword on the book. Joe Vitale from The Secret said it's an instant classic in personal development. If you've enjoyed any of the ideas that I'm talking about now, come that night. We're going to talk a lot more about what I learned from the 400 top achievers, and I'll be there also to answer your questions in person. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
So am I. That's fantastic. And just that in itself, some of the things I picked up on there, which one of my favorite and most important sayings to me is focus on the important, the urgent. And you summed that up in many of the things that you said there. It's so important to keep that focus. And keep learning. It's so true. You have to keep learning. I personally, as an entrepreneur, I find it addictive. You know, I started my entrepreneurial journey and now I'm addicted to constantly learning. So I can't wait to learn some more from you, Douglas. So I'm so excited to see you at the Ambassadors Hotel in Bloomsbury, June the 19th. Starting networking from 6 p.m. and everybody will get a chance to hear from such an amazing guy. So I really thank you. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's a pleasure being with you. And this is the saying that I'd like to leave everyone with. It's kind of my catchphrase. It's take your success seriously, right? No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to pick up the slack. This is your life. Take charge, create what you want and desire most, and start now.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
See you later.
See ya.